Yeah, so we're excited today. Again, my name's Art with No Code Devs. Thanks for being a part of the No Code Devs community. We're happy to be here today with The.com. We have Jeff, Clark, and Jane. Did I miss anyone from The.com? They're going to sort of talk about what The.com is. I think they're going to build something, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to have some time for Q&A, which is the usual format of these workshops. So if you have questions as the presentation sort of goes on, just like type them in the chat. We'll try to answer them, in line, but if not, we'll get to it at the end for sure. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and get started. One question that people always ask is like, is this going to be recorded? The answer is yes. It's recording, and then we will email out a copy of this probably next week to everyone who registered, as well as our whole community. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll turn it over to Jeff, Clark, and Jane.
Thanks, Art. Thanks for having us, Art and Paul and No Code Devs. We've been a fan of you guys for a while, and glad to be part of a lot of the lists you're working on and do these calls a couple times, teach people about the.com. I'm here. I'm Jeff. I'm one of the founders. I'm here with my co-founder and brother Clark and our community lead Jane. Thanks everyone for joining. And today we're going to talk about the.com and build a page and show you kind of how building blocks inside the .com, building pages, building with blocks, using the feed to remix blocks and sharing those blocks across sites and accounts, which is really cool. And to give you a little background on the.com, we launched the product to the public about a month ago. We've been working on it for about 2 years. And before that, Clark and I ran an agency where we built thousands of sites on WordPress and Webflow. And we found all these inefficiencies, not only from a technical side, but also from a reusability side. And we built in this concept into the .com that we call blocks that are effectively micro templates where you can break down the sites you've already built into tons of different blocks. You can share those with other people, and you'll get these social credits, these remix credits for those. And very shortly, you'll actually get monetary credit for allowing people to use your block. So we're kind of creating this block ecosystem. It's very Web3 oriented as well, because the person who originates those blocks, like in this case, you'll watch Clark build a page and break that page into blocks. If I were to remix from them, he would continuously get credit no matter how many people remix those. So a lot of cool new things that we're trying to innovate on. And yeah, Clark, what else?
Yeah. So to reiterate that, the .com's building the reusable web, and we're excited for people to actually own more than just their domain name. They're going to be able to own whatever you build. And it's a ton of fun, really easy to use. It puts everybody on the same playing field. So if you're lower skill level, you can use it by using blocks. If you're higher skill level, it's got a really robust editor that you can dive really deep into, edit anything that you want. So I'm going to just show you kind of how it works. And as questions continue to roll in, feel free to interrupt me, and we can answer those on the spot.
Clark,
so
before you start, I just wanted to quickly dive into composability, because that's what you'll be showing today.
Yeah. So, you want me to talk a little bit about it, or do you want to handle it?
Yeah, I can talk about it and then chime in whenever. So the .com uses, the ethos of composability, and you might have heard this term being thrown around in Web3. So I'm kind of dive into what does that actually mean. So building a new ecosystem would involve a lot of duplicated work. Like everything, if you were to, build a website over and over again, you're just kind of wasting time working. And so what the .com does is uses something that already exists and starts to build on top of that. So composability means people can take existing programs and build on top of them. And this interoperability enables a lot of different use cases. And the best way to explain it is kind of like compost. So composability is like compost in the sense that you eat a banana and there's value from a banana, and then you have a peel. And what do you do with it? You compost it. So you get value from that peel. And you use the compost in your garden. And now you can grow a potato. And then you can keep going in this cycle of endless making and growing and making and growing. And it's the same thing for the .com. You can build and then you can remix those builds, and over again, you go into this cycle. And that's what we're going to be showing you today, is how the .com sort of uses this, this concept.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, when you when you look at what makes culture great and what makes technology great, it's the fact that you get to pass on knowledge to the next person, and that's one of the big ideas here with this composability. So let me show you how this works. Right now, I'm on my profile. I've got like my profile information up here: name, handle, number of cells that I've filled out so far. The whole platform is based on blocks and cells, so that's how much work I've done. And I've got some how-to videos here that I can look around at and check out if I want to get started. I'm going to be hopping into this site over here and be showing you guys how to edit inside of the platform. I want to make sure that I cover like a couple bases here. So we're going to be doing some editing. We're going to be using blocks, and we're going to be grabbing or remixing blocks from the feed. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll hop into this site. And what you'll notice is the editing interface looks quite different than something you might have seen in the past. We're really excited about that. This is a completely new approach to website building, where we treat code and data like a first-class citizen, but you get all of the usability of some of the tools that you might be used to. So in this first screen here, this is how you manage your site. We call it a worksheet. If you click on any of these cells in the pages or the blocks here, it'll preview that stuff for you in the screen. You can also preview assets and fonts here as well. So this just manages all of your items. You can create new stuff here, and you can delete and rename and duplicate from here as well. So let's hop. What's up? Yeah, and so the cool thing about this first screen Jeff was just mentioning, we actually have live collab here as well. So if Jeff jumps into one of these pages, he'll actually show up here as an editor, so that I know not to mess with any of his designs while he's in one of the pages. So if you want to do that, Jeff, while I'm, yep, there you go. So now he's in building with blocks, and so if I try and edit this, I can hop in there and edit, or stay out of there while he's doing his works, which is super cool. When you see his picture show up with his associated color, and if I hover, it shows him editing in there. Sweet. So let's hop into a page. I just have this one set up for us called No Code Devs. All I have to do to enter a page is click on it. If I want to rename it or duplicate it or whatever, I just hit this corner menu. I get all my options. So I'll hop into this, and what you'll notice is the editor changes colors, and that means we're building now. So pretty simple setup. On the left side of the screen, we have all of our elements, and so this could be like text or an image or a block. And on the right, we have all of our styles, and these go on for thousands and thousands of styles. These are every style possible that CSS gives you, and you can navigate around through those with this nifty tool that we call the command palette. You use that by hitting Command K, and so you can jump around here. So I'll show you how that works. Let's go ahead and add a new element. I'll add a container, like a section. So I just click plus element and I start typing. I'll put a section in there, and it will ask me for a label. Maybe I'll make this like a toolbar. And I'll want to start editing some of the styles of this toolbar. Maybe I want to give it a little bit of a height, like 25 pixels. And you'll notice that each one of these cells takes whatever primitive is associated with the style. So for something like height, you'll get like pixels or view height or anything like that. For something like color, we'll get hex codes, RGBs, whatever. So maybe I'll make this like dark black, and you'll notice as I add that into the cell, it's going to showcase here, and it's also going to live render this stuff up top. And this is really helpful. This is your live site being built in the background, so you don't have to click like preview or anything like that, which is really nice. Cool. So I've got a container here. Let's go ahead and add some links into this. Maybe I want to put like a contact us link in here. So all I have to do is nest an item inside of this container in order to have that show up inside of there. So I'll click plus, I'll choose link or button. For the text, I'll say like contact us. and you'll see it's really hard to see on blue. It's the text is blue here on black. And then for the link, we can put like contact us here. And you'll notice when you just add these forward slashes surrounding the link, it'll just consider that one of the pages on here. So it'll be turbo.co/contact us, which is nice and easy. Cool. So let's style this up a little bit. Maybe I want to change the text color so I can see it. So I'll do white for that. You can also use plain language if you want to. I prefer to use hex codes just so I know what's going on. And maybe I want to style this a little bit more than just like color and size and whatnot. Maybe I want to add a font family. So what's really cool about this is I can actually, let me drag this over to this new screen here. I can actually just drag fonts directly into the font family cell, and it'll showcase here. So if I drag and drop this in, awesome, cool. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off. I just dragged a font file directly into this font family, and it picked it up right here, Satoshi. You can see that it got affected up here, which is really cool. I'm going to style this a little bit more. So remember, we have this command palette that allows us to jump around really quickly. I'm going to do that and find text decoration to get rid of that underline, say none. And then maybe I want the font size to be a little bit smaller. So I'll jump around to that one and do like 14. And maybe the font weight, I'll do like 400. That looks pretty good. And then if I want to move this around within the container, I can use any type of display property that I want. I'm a big fan of Flexbox, but it's kind of complicated. So you can use display block or whatever you want. So I'll just put flex in here, and then I'll do center that way, and I'll do end this way. And then I'll put a little bit of padding on here, like 9 view width, to separate that out a little bit. Cool. And maybe I want this min height to be a little bit bigger, like 30. Give me some space. Sweet, that looks really good. And I can control everything in here from styling, like I was just showing you, all the way through like hover states. So maybe if I wanted this opacity to be like 0.6, and then on hover to be 1, I can just go to this menu, select hover, and you'll see everything grays out. I put 1 here, and now when I hover over this, it lights up to full opacity, which is super cool. So you can get really, really deep with animations and hover states, befores, afters, anything like that you want. Really any full access to building that you'd have with writing code. Sweet. So now I want to add a navigation, which, you know, would take me a ton of time, and maybe I don't want to redo that work. Well, this is where that composability stuff comes in. So I can actually hop over to the feed, and I can look for some navigation. So we've got this cool one from Errol, who built Novel up here. But I believe I have Turbo in here somewhere as I go through these cool blocks. There's my footer that I'll probably use in a little bit. Let's see here, Turbo. Sweet. So I'm just going to click remix to site. I'm going to select the site that I want to remix it to. And that item will completely copy over as a new instance while maintaining ownership from the original creator. And it'll go give us a little celebration for that. And then I can just hop back over to my sites by clicking on my profile image here and hop back in. Then I'll hop back into my page. And now when I search for the for the navigation, I have my Turbo Nav, and it immediately goes in here with all of the states that existed with it previously. Super cool. And I can do that for as many sections as I want. Like if I wanted to add the hero as a block, I could throw that in there. And then maybe like this download block that I have. So you can see, you know, when stuff's already built, everything goes in really, really quick, and it makes it really easy to edit. But, you know, for these blocks, if I want to edit any of the particular items of it, all I have to do is click on that, and it's going to showcase the variables that the owner set up for me. So the owner said, I don't want you to touch anything but the H1, the image, and the paragraph. Well, that's super nice for me. I don't have to deal with any of the other stuff on here. So I can say change this text to something new, and that'll go in there for me. And then maybe for the image, I actually want to change this to be like this iPhone, I can just drag this directly in and this will upload and replace that image for me. So blocks are really customizable because the owner gets to set up which variables you have access to. And I can convert anything I want into a block as well. So all I have to do is select the item that I've previously built, like this toolbar, and click the little corner menu and click create block. And that'll generate a block for me that I can use over and over. Super cool. So let's go ahead and build another section of this page really quickly. I'm going to go back to look at this one as a reference. So I had this download section, then I had this image, and then I've got this section here. So let's go ahead and throw in this image. It's kind of justified to the right. It takes up a decent amount of space. I can actually show another really cool aspect of the platform. If you're on a different page like this image section, I can just actually hit the section and then hit Command C and go over to this new page that we've been building out and go to the top of the page and click Command V. And that'll throw that image right there for us. So you can Command C and Command V anything from any of the other parts of the site and easily use that instead of, if you didn't want to use things as a block, which is really nice. Cool. And let's cover some questions if anybody has any particular questions about what's going on. I'd love to answer any of those. I think we disabled chat, so maybe people have to request like the ability to maybe they have to like raise their hand or something like that.
Yeah, and you might I'm not sure if it's safe or not. I think everyone that was like sort of found that link and was bombing this have left, but I don't know if you can disable the chat. I mean, re-enable the chat, or if we feel like that's probably
yeah,
safe.
maybe we can have people DM you questions or whatever if you want. I can just keep building out this page and people can take a look and go from there.
Yeah, DM.
Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
Sweet. Cool. So yeah, you'll notice I also hide this editor a bunch. That can be done through Command D. There's a lot of hot commands inside of the platform that make building really, really quick. I can show another really cool aspect of using the .com as well. So we've got this concept in here. You guys learned about pages. You learned about blocks already. There's this other concept in here that we call sheets. And these are pretty much just blank spreadsheets that can act as a database, and you can pull this data in from any source that you want through Zapier, or you can fill things out on your own, and it's completely free form and it's up to you how you want to build it. So in this circumstance, I said, okay, well, I've got a list of icons with associated text here that I kind of use as these tiles lower on the page right here. So I can see that within this tile, I've got this text and this image, and it repeats over and over. So it's like the same design, but there's different inputs for it. So I can actually speed that process up really quickly by generating a sheet. I named these two columns icon and text. I just drag these images into the icon column, and I put this text into the text column. And then back here on the home page, if I go down to my tile section, you'll notice within this section, when I uncollapse it, I've got my text at the top. I've got this section called tiles. We've got this unique element that's the .com specific element called a feed. And it's connected to that sheet that we put in here. So if I delete that out of there, it's going to ask me for my app sheet name or my sheet name, which is tiles. So I'll start typing that and select tiles. And when I click on this quarter menu to look at the attributes of this, it's going to give me some options. So I can pick the sheet name. I can choose the starting row, so we don't take those titles. I can choose the number of rows, sort by, all that type of stuff. And then this is where the magic comes in. When I click on the block that I've nested inside of that sheet feed, I literally just hit equals A, like column A for the icon, and equals B for the text, and things will auto populate. So if I delete these out of here, nothing shows. I just hit equals A, and all of my images get pulled in, and I can hit equals B, and all of my text get pulled in. And so you can think about how powerful this is for like products or for team members or for any type of content that's repeating. you can connect this to a sheet and make that process really easy. And now every time I add a new row, like let's go ahead and add a new row over here so we can see what happens. I will drag in a new icon. Maybe I'll just repeat one of these here. And I'll say new row. And when I go back to my home page and I click back down on my tiles, you'll see I've got this new item created for me, and I have everything centered. So it's going to go to the center until it fills up this row. So it makes it really, really, really easy to kind of repeat that content. And Jeff was just telling me we have a question on how to do that from Zapier. So right now I'm in an incognito window, and so my Zapier is not logged in. But when you click on this, you'll log in through Zapier, and it will actually pull up all of the Zaps that you can use the .com with. So if you wanted to connect this to a Google Docs, or sorry, a Google Sheet, or an Airtable, or a Notion database, or pretty much anything that Zapier works with, you can just connect that data into this. And so, for example, like if you were building this on behalf of a customer, or maybe you had a DAO and you had a bunch of people editing that you didn't want to have access to the site, you can just spin up like an Airtable base and put all of this exact same information there, and then just connect this to Zapier. It'll pull that information automatically in, and then thus automatically into your homepage. Now, the real magic of this comes in where you can automatically deploy upon changes made outside of your site. So for that base on Airtable that you created for your DAO, like if you guys added a new team member or a new member to the community, you wanted to showcase that on the site, you can set this up with a simple toggle that if that person fills out a new row, that new row will auto-populate here and then auto-populate onto the homepage, and then the homepage will actually deploy automatically. So those updates will happen without you ever having to enter the editor at all, which is pretty cool. And this is super helpful if you're like an agency, you want to build a site where customers, want to list all of their properties for sale or whatever it is, and they just want to maintain that in a Google Sheet. They can do that, never have to log into the site, never have to deploy anything, and it'll all be maintained from an outside data source. It's really cool. Any other questions about sheet feeds or sheets? Really, really powerful concept we're really excited about. And we're building them out to be more and more robust. Right now, you can drag columns and rows around. You can set things equal to each other as well throughout the platform. So yeah, that's a good idea, Jeff. I'll show versions in a little bit. So like, I'll go. Okay, we just had a question whether those tiles could be filterable. And so right now, you'd have to set that up yourself. And we have built this into sites before in the past where we set up a simple tag filter. And if something contains like the name border and you want to make the tag border, like you can set that up, and I can actually show you how to do that. Maybe we'll make that a block and throw that into the feed so people can use that. But yep. Yeah, and if you want to filter this, like if I want to, let's go down to my tiles. If I wanted to do this as ascending or descending, I can sort by that way as well. And I can also set this up so like it only shows 5 rows with the most recent row being the first, so that if you want to only show like the most recent 5 article tiles from something, you can do that. And every time you add a new row, it'll actually just move the whole set down one. So you're just looking at the most recents, which is cool. But I was just going to show really quick how to set something equal to something else. So say for this H1, we had a text color of orange, and we wanted this paragraph to be the same thing. All I have to do is hit equals and select this. And these will both turn orange. And so now if I change this to red, they're both going to be connected. And so you can systemize things pretty aggressively throughout your site as well, which makes building really easy, and you don't have to redo a lot of that same work. Super, super nice. So I'm going to show you a couple more really cool features we've got going on here. There's a lot of stuff to dive into. You can create versions of your page as well. So if I click this button here, you'll see I have this home version. It's my live version. I can't delete it because it's my live one. I can go ahead and fork this out and create a completely new version that I can mess with, ruin, experiment on, completely change around, and it won't have any impact on this existing page. So like maybe for this hero text, we want, instead of red, we want this to be like a color blue, and maybe this one to stay black. And I can change this text. And now when I have these versions, I can instantly flip between them and deploy whichever one I want. So if I click deploy here, this one will go live. If I go back to this, click deploy, this one will go live. So this is really nice if you want to mess with something on your website, you don't want it to screw with the live version. You can create unlimited versions of a page, and it's super, super helpful. Maybe you have multiple team members trying to make edits or additions. You can fork things out into their own respective pages, and then you can copy and paste the parts that they're working on into the main one. So you can kind of create your own workflows around that. Super cool. You can edit all of this stuff in mobile if you want to. I already showed how to do like hover states, pseudo, stuff like that. Got this other cool tool called Inspect, which just allows you to jump around on the page. So if I wanted to click on this, it'll just jump me to that. Or maybe I want to click on this down here, it'll jump me to that icon. So that's just like a quick navigation tool. And then you can save, you've got your feed, you've got chat, which is getting a refactor right now, but you'll be able to chat with people. And then we've got another really cool feature in here called scheduling deployments. So, if you're like a D2C brand and you want to plan out like your launch for something, or maybe you have an adjustment going out for Black Friday or Christmas or whatever it is, you can actually schedule your deployment. And so you can pick a time and a day that this goes out and schedule it, and it'll automatically deploy for you at that time. And this, we've already seen people really, really love this feature. We're just trying to push the limits of what it takes to build really great websites and try to make the experience a heck of a lot better. But these are kind of like some of the base core concepts of the platform. And I'm really excited that you guys were able to stick around and check it out. And I'd love to field any additional questions that anybody might have. It looks like Jeff's talking to some people in the chat.
Couple in the chat here. Can you do authentication or create membership sites?
So right now, we would suggest that you work with a platform that does that specifically, and maybe just use it as a subdomain and pass that stuff through. But we do work with Shopify. If you use the buy button sales channel, there's a couple sites out there that are using that really successfully and significantly speeding up their sites. So if you want to do that, we're also toying around with building a Shopify plugin ourselves that would enable you to pull all that data in, so you can build completely custom sites with whatever shop experience you want. So let us know if you guys are interested in that. We can get that one started right away. But we're really excited about the e-com side of things. We're also integrating a buy button that's coming out shortly. So if you want to sell digital goods or services or one-off items, you can instantly spin up a shop button and throw that onto any page that you want and make your own money your own way.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I see in the chat, it looks like you're recommending that you could also use Outseta or something like that, which is the tool that we use, and really is a powerful tool that you can plug and play into a bunch of different types of builders, including the.com. So
yep. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Awesome. Any other questions, Jeff?
Yeah, any other questions? Just to sort of reiterate, I think that from what I'm seeing from a few of the people who messaged me on Twitter, that I guess like doing that on a Zoom call is kind of a thing. I don't know how people find these public links, but we'll make sure we edit that all out. And for everyone who hung through that, we really appreciate it. That's definitely new for us, so really appreciate you hanging on here. But if there's any other questions, we'll take them now. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up and we'll edit. Well, Paul work his magic. Good luck with that, Paul. Editing all that out and And when we'll share out this link. But yeah, we really appreciate, the.com coming on here. It's a, another awesome tool to put in your tool belt. And I guess, like, if you have any questions, what's the best way to reach you guys, after this fact? If you come up with some questions, how do they find you besides just going to their website?
Yeah, so you can obviously, like you said, go on the website. If you want to join the Slack community, that's where a lot of the conversation is going on. So feel free to request either through Art or Jane. You guys can request access to the Slack community, and we can post that link into. Yeah, or Jeff was just saying, if when you sign up, you get access to the Slack community. Jane's DMs are open on Twitter, so feel free to shoot her a message. She's at Jane Sorkin, and Jeff and I are also available that way as well. So feel free to message us that way.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks again so much. Really appreciate your time, and good chatting with everyone.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see what you all build.
All right. Thanks so much.